Hi, my name's Shawn Shaler. That's my friend over there, Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame. Welcome to Avatar The Last Podcasters. Today we are, as usual, watching something that I should have seen by now and have not seen. That's a common theme for this podcast these days. We're going to watch, let me read the title Avatar The Last Airbender Bringing the World to Life. It is a Netflix, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong here, a little behind the scenes teaser. Is that a fair word to describe it?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. We're also gonna ask each other how we are because that's what we do, and then we're gonna talk about yet another Avatar video game because when it works so well
Another
the
one.
other times,
Usually DJ Khaled says another one after like a hit song,
and
not mediocre video.
he doesn't like throw a vinyl record in the trash and then be like another one.
Yeah.
But listen, who are we to say what that phrase should and should not be used for? Chris, before we talk about all of that definitely good, not garbage stuff, how are you? How you doing?
Besides being tired right now for some reason. Sorry. Very timely yawn. Don't know why I'm tired. It just came over me in the last like 2 minutes. No, I'm great. It's a good week. My daughter recently I say rewatched. She recently watched Avatar Last Airbender. Thing is, she's watched it before, but that was like 6 years ago. Like she doesn't even remember it, except for one episode. You could probably look back in one of our podcast episodes, very very deep cut, where I probably mentioned that her favorite episode at that point in time was the Western Air Temple because he's talking to the frog just on his head, and she remembered that. Um, but so she
Yeah,
rewatched
that's not
watched
an
it.
Avatar deep cut. That is a this podcast deep cut, which makes it like 8 times as deep of a cut.
Yeah. So I've been watching a little more of Avatar recently, and man, season 2 and 3 are it's so crazy to see how much these characters grow, especially Qatar. Qatar changes a lot. Um, and of course Zuko. Um, but yeah,
It's just
and now she's
so
starting back up.
it's just so
You go.
bingeable. Like you can't. It's not like dramatic cliffhangers every time, but you just want to see. You're so invested in the underlying narrative, and you just want to keep watching until you see it fold out without necessarily episodic
Hmm.
cliffhangers or unnecessary nonsense. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and she watched it. I want to say in 2 weeks, at least since our last episode. So yeah, so
Awesome.
2 weeks. Now she's
Fantastic.
starting on Legend of Korra again, and she has a pretty good memory of Legend of Korra. Like she always loves going back and watching beginnings. It's great. I love beginnings. But so that was good. Um, also Avatar related. Found out that we are on to do our panel at Planet Comicon coming up March 9th. I believe it's a Saturday. It
We
will
just
be
been
there.
operating in this depressing limbo for like a month.
No, I gave up because I was one thing, and it's still freaking weird. I have okay. This is how it typically goes. I
At least
fill out
for
a
us
form.
celebrities. Let's
Yeah,
make that very clear.
I fill out a panel submission form, write everything, write the whole description, title of the panel, my email, phone number, whatever, and I submit it. And then typically about 3 to 4 months before Planet City Comic Con, they will email me and say, "Hey, we looked over your panel and we approve it, and then here's the time that we're thinking about. Are you good with that time?" And I say, "Yeah, that time works." And then they'll follow up with that probably like a month or so later, like at least a month or so before Planet City Comic Con happens. They're like, "Oh, hey, who do you need to have credentials for it?" Like pretty much who do you need to have to get free passes into Comic Con for the day. I haven't gotten any of that notifications, so I just assumed. Also, in December, I sent an email to them and to this other person who's like the head of programming. Like, oh hey, I'm just checking in to make sure that I've submitted my panel correctly and stuff. Didn't hear any response back from that. And then I and I sent another email probably a month after that, just reiterating it. And then I added another person to that email. Didn't hear anything back. So I just figured they just if you're not selected, they just don't send you any type of confirmation back or anything.
They left you on
Then
red.
yeah, then I saw a tweet from them saying, "Oh, the panels are up and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, cool." Even though we didn't get selected for panel, I still like to check out the panel list.
Not our panel, but we want
Because
to see the panels. Whose
yeah,
whose
I,
trivia contest do we have to go to now?
yeah, yeah. Um, so I look at Saturday. Avatar Cast. They have the first big panel of the day at 11 o'clock.
Cool.
It's oh my gosh, Michaela Geo Murphy, voice of Toph, Dante Bosco, voice of Zuko, and I know his last name is Baldwin. For some reason, I can't. I'm like, no, James Baldwin. Um, wait, James Baldwin? No, he's a
That sounds like a Baldwin brother of the.
rapper Hall. OB James Baldwin. He might be a civil rights activist.
Oh, never mind. Ah, way off.
There's a- anyway, um, but he's the voice of Iroh, the second voice of Iroh. They have a panel at 11 o'clock. So I go through, I look at all the panels throughout the day because there might be just some stuff I'm interested in going. And then I see Avatar Trivia presented by Avatar Labs Podcasters at 7 o'clock on Saturday at 25:05. I'm like, oh, okay, we must be doing the trivia because that's the that's presented by us. It's not like they were like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that ourselves. One thing they wouldn't do that because they're not going to buy.
Yeah,
Like
that
the description is exactly what I put in there, is word for word. But they just haven't communicated back to me that that time. Like, what if that time didn't work?
I'm
Like
starting
they
to
put out,
feel a little taken for granted, Chris, to just have the gall to throw us on there and assume we'll come give people prizes. I'm gonna do it, but I'm just gonna feel
yeah. I have a
indignant
bunch
about
of
it.
prizes.
I, I do. I got that giant shredder bobblehead pop from GameStop clearance, right? It's like this big.
Yeah.
You got like, some weird things over there.
The thing is, and then I had an epiphany that I told you about. Like right before I was reading through the panel list, like I've read Avatar panel, right? The I read the 11 o'clock one. It's called, I forget what it's called. Amazing Avatar Stories, I think is what the panel's called. And I go, oh, I have an idea, which I still might do it. We still might do it. Which is like, oh, I can just do one of those things where like you walk up to people and say, hey, answer these questions in 20 seconds and you win a prize. Like we can just go through the con and just pull random people cosplaying as avatars, see if they're down for it and being recorded, and we can make a little video of it and stuff. Still might do that,
We
but
talk
that
to
was my
those
little epiphany I
people.
had.
We talk to those people and take pictures with them anyway.
Yeah,
Let's throw a question and a prize at them.
yeah. And then right when I had that epiphany, I see, oh, we're down for that panel. But anyway, so good news. And then I emailed them again, like, oh, hey, I see that we're on for the panel. Just let you know that time works for us.
Just. That's the most passive aggressive thing I've heard all day.
Is it? Well, anyway.
Because, like, wait, no, maybe it's aggressive passive. It's like the opposite. You're just like, in hindsight, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
um,
Oh, it's
I
fantastic.
emailed back the same people, and then I added on just general inquiries email for Planet Comicon.
Great. Great.
Um, and if I don't hear anything, thing is that need to make sure that we have our admission into the con because John might come and then your wife might come, so I need to get at least four. I probably won't get one for my daughter who might also come because kids are actually relatively cheap. And that might be just asking for a little too much, even though it shouldn't be. I might try to ask for a fast pass, but first got to
Now,
get in
now
communication.
we're talking. Yeah, first I have
Yeah.
to answer a question. Listen, not to disparage the people doing good work. I know they're busy.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're busy.
It's just that
I'm
us F tier celebrities expect a certain
yeah.
amount of treatment. Is F tier the right? I don't know what letter we would be at. The,
Hey, for those side panels that take place in like 25A, 2505A, and those small panel rooms, we're great.
right, we're really not celebrities, but we're constables. Can I? Is that too
Yeah,
arrogant for us to say constables? I love doing it. It's so
sure.
much fun.
It is a lot of fun.
And your daughter should come with. I think that's great. You talk. Basically every year we kind of like joke like, I don't know if she's ready this year. I don't know if she's ready this year. And this, you just like said it with confidence. You're like, yep, she's good. We went to Anime Con. This is even
Oh no,
better.
she's definitely ready. It's just a matter if I feel like Comic Con is a time. I don't have a social life. I don't know if you know this, and so Planet City Comic Con is like the one time that I just go do my own thing. But I shouldn't be that selfish. I should just be making memories and stuff. Tag along.
Well,
She'll love it. She'll enjoy it.
and
But
I mean, you're already having to like walk around with me. That's basically babysitting. Your daughter's got some
no,
shared ages.
that's
What
completely
difference
different.
does it make?
There's a switch that that I can turn off. I can turn off the father switch. And I can just like not have to worry about someone else's well being for whatever time frame. I know my well being. I'm right here. I know where I'm at. But
I do.
I mean, like in the anime convention we went to wasn't bad and stuff. So one thing she's great. She's not like a little kid. Like she's a little kid, but
Yeah,
she's
she's a well mannered child. Heather, if Heather comes, we can ship them off or whatever. They, uh, yeah, I don't have a dad switch. I have a vacation switch, Chris. There's a certain point where
mm,
I'm on vacation where like my
yeah,
my
same
cheap
thing. Yeah,
my cheap rigidness kind of goes away. It's like, no, I'm on vacation, and I just wander across the street and get this thing or that food or whatever. But there's a switch in there. Chris, it was a neat week for a couple reasons, right? So we learned about the con. Next week, upcoming, we're gonna hang out Thursday and binge the live action series. So that'll be exciting. And I don't know if you'll hear anything about that, you listeners, viewers, until like Friday, essentially. But we're gonna binge the whole thing, and then our next few weeks of content will obviously be live action specific. That's very exciting. I did something else I was gonna mention, and I forget whatever it was. It must not have been important. It'll come back to me later. But anyway, it was like an interesting week full of fun little tidbits and things like that. So very excited for next Thursday for watching every episode at Chris's house.
it's gonna be crazy.
Unless it's
You
bad, and
know,
then it's not crazy.
it still be crazy.
It'll still be fun either way. I'll have fun even if it's not fun. It being the show. Chris, before we jump into, I want to talk about the video game first, but just it occurred to me the other day we've never really touched on the Harry Potter HBO series, which is essentially a remake, right? Same characters, same rough time frame,
Hmm.
but totally different ideas and ideals. Now, there's not a lot of information. It just occurred to me. I don't think we've ever talked about it. It's important to me. What's your thoughts? What have you heard? What have you anything? Nothing? Excited? Indifferent?
I am indifferent definitely right now because those movies are great. I don't have any sort of basis from the books, and I love those movies. Those are great movies. Although there's not like an individual one that I really love. I just love them as a whole.
Sure.
Um, like they all just it's just one big story to me. Um,
I'm gonna consider
and
that
so
a
they're
compliment. I think
yeah.
it's a
So
compliment.
they were done. They were done very well, and so I'm curious, I guess, because like a book, I think they're what from what I hear, it'll tie more closer to the book, and so I'm curious to see what changes are made there. Every now and then I'll come across this different TikToker or whoever she does shorts. She'll be like, "This is how movie Harry was," and it'll be like, "Da da 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 da." She'll, "This is how book Harry was." I'm like, "Oh, there's a little difference there." Okay, and she doesn't like anatomical, sense. And so I'm interested to see any of those changes and how it will be adapted. it's interesting because watching Percy Jackson, because the I watched the first movie a long time ago, liked it enough.
The
Um,
first movie specifically, that's important.
yes, I don't even remember the second one. I'm sure I saw it, but I have
If
no
I'm
real
thinking
memory of
of
the
the
second
right thing, it is awful. If I'm thinking of the right thing, it is atrocious, a
one.
travesty.
Yeah.
But I might be off.
And then me and my daughter watched the Percy Jackson show. She really liked the show, and I like the show. That being said, I I feel like the movie's not better, but I appreciate that the movie's 2 hours. I didn't feel like I missed anything. Like the movie did adapt it slightly different at the end. I know it's a big deal. It wasn't a big deal to me because I don't have any type of. I'm not like, oh well, they didn't stick to this. But the general plot of the movie in the show or that first book was pretty well. I don't feel like I got anything extra really in the show. Um, so hopefully Harry Potter makes it add stuff from that was I don't know makes it feel like oh I'm missing this.
It gives you the reason to watch the show instead of the movies. Fun
Yeah.
underlying theme of the past few weeks. Chris, I for the first two Harry Potter movies, some of the child acting is nigh unwatchable, and the effects and like visually, like it looks fine for the time, maybe even good for the time. But I'm excited to see HBO production values and modernness painted over a series that I enjoy. As I've been watching, I complained to you the other day because I was watching Silicon Valley, and I've kind of been thinking about watching Game of Thrones again. If they like HBOify it, I'm gonna be very upset. I can't take it. I can't take whatever you want to call that. Like, it's not always like the every episode the worst thing possible happens, but it's pretty close. It's like OP in favor of negative circumstances in every single
Mm.
episode of most HBO shows. If they get that, I don't think I'm gonna be able to handle it. But long story short, I had my wife and I hadn't really talked about it. She kind of completely forgot about it, but we just been talking about it more this past week, and I really think it'll be fun to see at least the earlier movies for better production value, and the later movies for a little tighter
Post
wrapping.
adaptation or okay.
Uh,
Oh,
I don't.
tighter. Well, because they did stretch out that last book.
And that first 7.1 is not great. I know it's necessary. It's not great. But I don't so much care about. I do love the books. Of all the books I've read, of all 10 of the books I've ever read in my life, this is 7 of them, and I love them. I don't. I'm not huge on the having to tie to the books. It's a different medium, tell a slightly different story. I'm okay with that, as long as it makes sense. You can't assume that your watchers have read the books and then deviate or whatever. Most of them don't.
Mhm.
But no, a little tighter on the finish, I think would be good. But we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. I'm excited.
This is slightly related. But when it comes to adaptations, and we talked about a few changes that the Avatar show, Netflix show is making. One of the other changes, which I don't think has been like fully confirmed yet, or maybe it has, by the creators. I'm sorry, that might be loud. Is
It
that
definitely
they?
is.
Sorry.
We're so sorry.
um, sorry. Um, one of the changes that they're making is that it's not going to be like a whole year. I think they're going to do it to where it's 3 years because they account for the kids' ages and stuff. And I feel like sometimes in this social media age, creators overthink things because they're afraid of fan response, fans poking holes and things. Like you can't make something that is foolproof. Like, um, and I feel like sometimes that makes them like people are scared of honest trailers. I think some people, some writers or directors are scared of getting honest trailered, and I don't know. That's a bad way to do art.
I also just, man, you can't make stuff that everybody likes. There's always going to be haters no matter what, and you got to pick your battles. And I don't think seeing your actors age a little bit faster on
Yeah,
screen than they're supposed to, A, is all that noticeable to the average person. Maybe at the kid who plays Aang's age, it could be. I don't know. It's not that important to me, but I'm not
yeah,
gonna I'm not gonna overthink it too much, I guess. It's weird. Chris,
yeah.
let's complain about a video game for a minute, or not complain. We could do the opposite, and then we'll watch this video. But you showed me today that been a video game announced made by Maximum Games, who do Maximum Football, Chris Tales. Trying to think, I should have written these down. Other recent ones. Those are the two that stood out to me because they're genres that I care about. And it's going to
Hmm.
be a fighting game. I don't think it really called out whether it was going to be like 2D or 3D. I imagine it will
Yeah,
be
look.
3D graphics in a 2D arena or in a flat
Do you think
playing
it'll?
arena.
Do you think it'll be like Street Fighter?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
but probably more cell shady, right? Probably more animation looking.
Oh yeah,
Not
without a
that
doubt.
Street
Yeah.
Fighter's realistic, but it's hyper detailed. I think we'll get more
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
flat. But no, it'll be the 3D character models, but essentially on a 2D plane, not in a 3D arena.
And you think it'll be like health bar type of deal?
I think so. That is what little I did a quick Google. That's my best interpretation is a traditional kind of tournament scene fighting game.
Arcade.
Yeah. Which is so I'm it's hard for me to judge because I'm biased against that type of game. Just because I'm bad, not because I don't like it. I'm just horrible at it. It's like my worst genre. And then
I get it.
also,
I don't like trying to pull these combos together. Like Smash, I get that some people do combos in Smash, but they're almost like they figured out the
they're
combos.
not
Or you
insistent
can
upon each other in Smash. In Smash, it's a
yeah.
combo, but it's really just kind of it's just a clever three moves in an order that makes it, but like, it's not a sort of necessitated strung together combo.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm wording that very well, but they balanced it right in Smash Brothers. And a very common complaint in the fighting game community is that the best series, the best franchises that people go to over and over and over again, your Capcom series is certainly the big one. SNK still has, but that they achieve balance to the point where they are fairly, in a literal sense, fairly, as in fair to each other, playable at extremely high levels. And if you don't hit that, you usually just kind of get discarded. Like, it's a very dangerous genre to not get really precise. But
Yeah.
that is from a biased non-fighting game person. So I have some nerves. The developer is a step up from developers of previous Avatar games, with the exception of Platinum Games. I would say is a more renowned developer. I do like
Oh, okay.
I like Chris Tales, and I like Maximum Football. Maximum Football is an enjoyable football franchise. I don't know if they've done the whole franchise though. I think they might have just done 1 or 2 years. And Chris Tales is like a interesting looking JRPG. It's not a special game. It's just very
It's
interesting
called
looking.
Chris Tales.
CRIS. Chris. I pronounce it Chris Tales. I don't know if that's
Wait, are you
right or
saying
wrong.
CHRIS?
CRIS. No
Oh,
H.
okay.
It's close. It's close.
I was like, you mean my name?
Yeah, it's Chris Tales. It's about you, man. And no, just a, it's a JRPG that I actually wish more people would play. I see it on store shelves all the time for like $2 and $3, like ridiculous, even for the cheapest. For the Switch, where everything's more expensive, it's like $10. It's a very interesting JRPG that I'm very fond of. But man, can we just get like a good Avatar adventure game? It just doesn't seem like it would be. I don't know. It just feels
Huh.
like it's there.
Man, I remember that I when I posted like because after Tears of the Kingdom came out, I was like, man, imagine if Avatar made a game like this, but you got to use betting to solve puzzles, or you got to use future tech stuff, and you can build even. And it's almost like, yeah, they're doing that with Avatar Gener. They did a like, you're dumb, like they're doing that. I'm like, no, they're
Because
not
they
doing
did it on
that.
a bad phone game, kind of. Not really, man. And it just
I'm still
seems
waiting
like the
for it to go down in
pieces are
price for me
there.
to play. I'm curious. I'm curious if it's better or worse than a Korra game. It's probably worse. I mean, because in that thing I sent you today, it had IGN's review of Avatar: Quest for Balance, and then Korra, the Legend of Korra game, and they gave it about the same score.
That is
And I
so
like the Legend
wrong.
of Korra game.
That is
Yeah.
so wrong. That Legend of Korra game, I do like beat 'em ups. That Legend of Korra game's got problems. Okay, but I enjoy beat 'em
Yeah.
ups. It's a solid beat 'em up. It's like a 6 to 7 ballpark out of 10.
Sure.
They had
Yeah.
it like at 4 out of 10, and they had Quest for Balance at like 4 out of 10. Holy smokes! No, sir, absolutely not in the same
Mm.
ballpark. Yeah, we deserve an Avatar game. I have this vision of, right. You start out as I don't know. You start out as your avatar, whichever avatar they pick,
Hmm.
and you can't go to
Yeah.
certain areas yet because you haven't learned that kind of bending yet. So you can't unlock whatever that puzzle is to get to that area.
Absolutely.
That makes it sensible. Or
That's
you can't.
how. Yes.
But just the only thing I can't sort out, Chris, is like you need kind of disposable bad guys that you can just kill for it. Like
Oh, just come up with
it might have
yeah,
to be
just
a
come up with
Kyoshi.
henchmen for the big bad.
It might have to be a Kyoshi or a Korra or like somebody where you can violently murder things in droves and not feel
Oh
too
no,
bad.
you wouldn't have to. I mean, they just knock
Uh,
them out.
Chris, a key component of
Oh,
Tears of the Kingdom is creative ways to murder shit. That is one of its best qualities. I was
no,
thinking,
you can't have Shaw. You can't have whatever this game is. It will be canon probably. You can have an avatar with graveyards of bodies. An avatar can
what?
kill, but graveyards is a different.
That's
Link has so much blood on his
he does.
hands.
That's why it's awesome. Chris, what about like nebulous dark spirits? Like you just like kind of a
True,
generic
but
dark spirits that
but
take
spirit,
different shapes and
but
are
even are
Chris,
spirits are sentient also.
what if
Like
they
it's
shot first? You know, what if the spirits fired first? What
you're
about
the
technology?
avatar. You're supposed to be the bridge.
What if we go farther
Okay,
into the future and it's technology? Some
that's
bad.
that's very far. Talking about robots that you got to beat up.
Well, no. What about like one bad Kuvira actor with like spirit energy powering regular robots? Like not Kuvira specifically, but something like just like one generation further, and it's one
Uh,
nefarious person controlling robots for a what's the next bender in the cycle?
on Earth.
Earth. Okay, for an Earthbender. What about that?
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Uh, I
I think you
need
can still knock people out.
I need
I
some
think you can still think of creative ways to knock people out. Is will be. I don't
maybe.
think you have to kill people in order to be a good a good
I did.
game.
I want to acknowledge that I never said that was the case. I do think that part of what makes Tears of the Kingdom fun is that there's your imaginative ways to murder things is endless, literally endless, and it's a good driver. Anyway, we demand a good Avatar game. I could be wrong. If there's one that I could be wrong about, it could be this one. From bias, like I just don't know, and I'm bad at them. And there is a developer who has developed games that are profitable to some degree behind it. So I could be wrong about this one.
Yeah,
Pretty.
I had no real faith, and I never heard of Game Mill before, so I was,
Oof.
and the game itself just didn't look that great.
There's like 10 Game Mill games. To be fair, Game Mill's a publisher, but they're sending it out to garbage developers. There's like 10 Game Mill games on the shelf over here. There's 500 games, 500 Switch games, Chris. The 10 Game Mill games, the worst games on the shelf. Just buy all together. You put them in one group. It's the worst 10 games on the shelf. But at any rate, um, Chris, you ready to watch this? Watch this video.
Yeah, sure. I've watched it before.
It's about 4 minutes long. I'll put it on the screen. You'll hear a little volume coming through my mic, I hope. I'm going to assume that we will be okay with making commentary at each other during this process
Yeah.
of a 4 minute video. All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to play it. You tell me when you're ready. Give me the countdown.
All right. 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh yeah, I gotta turn down my stuff. Oh my gosh. Dang, I keep forgetting. Oh, well, of course.
The story of Avatar is an epic fantasy
God,
set
the
in
ships
a
look great.
world inspired by Asian folklore and legend, and the people of this world can manipulate the four classic elements in a process called bending. There are four
This
nations:
earthbending here
the air
looks good.
nomads, the fire nation,
Very
the earth
attractive.
There's
kingdom,
there are
and the
some
water
shots that
tribe.
look
Oh,
so.
there's a
Oh
new
man,
shot.
on my shoe.
That was a new
Yeah.
shot of the
Oh
water
yeah.
tribe.
Oh yeah, Sean. We kept saying boss didn't say last time. I meant to say on my shoe.
Oh, that's on me. I said it first. My bad.
Innocent people are gonna die. That's what it means to fight a war. And the only person that can stop them is the
That's a good line from Jet.
That was a good look at Jet. We got a face forward
If you've
look.
seen him around, he's the little
Yeah.
bald kid with the arrow. It's me, the one person who can master all four elements. And it's
Oh,
his
that looked kind of neat.
responsibility to stop the Fire Nation from conquering the world.
Jet looks like a D-bag though, just like I thought he would.
Aang is just a beacon of hope. If the world is gonna have
There's a lot of new shots in here. That's awesome. I'm glad we're getting to see new
Yeah. No,
things.
it's a great. This might be one of the things that got me most excited.
My name's Gordon Cormy, and I'm gonna be playing Aang. He's a fun-loving 12-year-old who has a responsibility that he doesn't really want. How am I supposed to figure out how to save the world?
I love the statue of Kyoshi.
If you don't even try. My name is Gandia, and I play Katara. She's a beginner waterbender, and she will fight to the ends of the earth for
Water
the people that she
looks
cares
like
about. We do have
water.
but it's to protect
True.
Aang.
Normal
My name is Ian
issue.
Owsley, and I will be playing Gran Gran. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing Sokka. He's given this
Even actor
responsibility by
Sokka
his
thinks
father
he's
to
funny.
protect his village,
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
he learns
I
that
like
you
that
don't have to
thanks.
be a warrior to
Just
be
clarify.
I am Prince Zuko. I'll burn this place to the ground.
Their outfits look great.
My
Zuko
name is
looks
Dallas
great.
Liu, and I'm playing Zuko.
There are some
He
shots
is
that
on the
look
search for the
great, and then
Avatar,
sometimes there are
the
shots that I'm like,
enemy of the
yeah, I don't know
Fire
if I love that
Nation.
shot.
He is just trying to
I'm very
fight
curious
for
about
his
that
father's
scene
protection
there
and his approval, but his
I'm
uncle
gonna go
is the
back
with
to
him and
the.
man
Aang.
I'm
that
gonna
is
go
stuck
back
by
to
his
my
side.
air scooter complaint in a minute because that's a shot where I just feel like Aang's impact doesn't feel right.
Complex character. He treats Zuko like his son. Have you got a plan yet? The plan is to go in and capture the Avatar once and for all. So no plan. Having
I
a
do love
completely
that scene.
Yeah,
It's
engaged
a
that's
group of people both in front of and behind the camera is significant. For the longest time, as an actor of color, you don't get
yeah.
opportunities
They
to
said
play
F
in
Mike
these
and Bryan.
franchises.
No, I'm
You
kidding.
have no idea how important
that's what I heard him
it is
say.
or how many more
That's what
faces people will find.
Read between the lines, Chris.
I know.
I hope that fans say this is the live action adaptation that we've always wanted. Shooting this show has been the most memorable experience of my life.
It's not the power inside. What matters is the heart. It's coming out of a place of love for who these people are that we're playing.
It's weird seeing a Zula actress talking about love.
Talking about love and being so tiny and precious looking.
About this project and really doing it justice. We didn't make something that sort of alluded
It's so
to it
weird. It's
moving
just a
to
week
the title.
away.
We made
It
Avatar
does. It feels like we've been talking about it for 2.5 years or something now.
People are dying. There's a whole new generation of fans.
Yeah,
No,
but
Sean, it's been like 4 years.
hasn't it? I mean, it feels like
5.
forever. Boomy looks weird. Gonna get on board. I'm gonna get on that train.
Yeah, and they have a couple of different. I mean, we there's a new fight of Boomy. If you go to their Twitter account, you can see a new clip of Boomy and Aang's fight. It shows a much better look at King Boomy.
Better as in cleaner look, or better as
Cleaner.
in he
That's
looks
for
better
up for
in
debate.
it. Okay, up for
But I think
noted.
just a better visual look at a, a more clear look at Boomy.
This is my feedback here is that that was really cool to get to see some extra scenes and we got closer shots of some things. It
Yeah,
sounds mean. I don't really care about what they were saying. Like I know the story, but it was really neat to get some different angles and different closer shots and things that we hadn't seen before. That's fun.
No, I think that was one of the. I think that got me more hyped for um for the show than I think most of the trailers did. I don't know. I don't know why, but it did.
It's so close, and you see these other things that just make it feel realized, like you know that we're not just seeing cinematic cinematic well chosen snippets, like you're kind of seeing something that feels closer to a full product,
Yeah,
like it feels realized.
yeah.
That's just a guess. I don't know. I'm not a psychology major. I would say the previous trailer that we watched was still my favorite, like teaser or trailer experience. Just the most recent one prior to this, in
Hmm.
terms of hype. But this was still it's great. It's next week. It's wild. And
I know.
I'm gonna zoom back to that shot of Jet, and I'm gonna judge him based strictly on his appearance. Hope everybody's okay with that in this instance. No, I reserve the right to see what they do with Jet. Chris, this is our last chance to chat before we sit down and watch it next week. What's your final thoughts? What's left on your brain?
Um, my expectations are. This sounds disrespectful. My expectations aren't that high, which is fine. It doesn't have to. My expectation. I'm not expecting this to be better. I'm expecting it to. I'm just expecting it to be what it is, whatever it is. I'm expecting it to be good. And if it's great and I freaking love it, I'm gonna freaking love it, and I'm be excited to love it. I don't go in things watching it wanting to not love it. That's
Yeah.
stupid. People do that though.
Why would you watch
Um,
that? Why would you
yeah.
why would you do something if you thought you weren't gonna
Um,
enjoy it?
my few concerns. There's gonna there's gonna be a few shots that I think I'm gonna be like, oh, that's a bad shot. Like there are some shots that look a little cheesy and stuff.
Hmm.
Now I'm gonna say a few good things about the M Night Shyamalan movie because next week out Netflix Outros will come out and people are gonna be crapping all over the M Night Shyamalan movie. It deserves a lot of crap. It does. But I'll point out a few things I really like about it. Really is a anyway.
You
I'll say something about M Night
relatively
Shyamalan.
liked about it.
Yeah, M Night Shyamalan is a great filmmaker. He really is.
Ooh.
The Last Airbender movie not included, and a
A
couple other movies not
great
included.
filmmaker,
Is
Chris.
no, he really is a great filmmaker. I believe he is a great filmmaker
Great.
who great. He he was like my Christopher Nolan before Christopher Nolan.
Oh.
Like he was the first director that I would go see a movie because he's directing it. He has, but he's I don't know what he was doing with that with the Last Airbender, but he was terrible. He was terrible at directing the actors to do work. But like, I recently watched it since. I'm like, this is a great freaking movie. Like I watched it with my daughter because I told her it's a twist. Signs is a great movie. He is a great storyteller. He really is. I'm not. And I love a lot of his movies. I love Unbreakable. I love Sixth Sense. I really like Signs. I love Split, and I love Mr. Glass or Glass. It might just be called Glass.
Glass, yeah.
And yeah, he has the potential to be. I think he is a great filmmaker. His movies, I love probably four of them, and then I like a few others, and then some of them I hate. But like, I still think he's a great filmmaker. He has a really good eye. Like his cinematography, no matter the scale of what he's doing, cinematography is great. Like he is always visually telling a story, and that's one aspect that I think is going to be missing, could potentially be missing from this show, because there are certain shots, close-up shots. I'm like, that's not a good visually appeasing shot. Like it might could be just in a room, and he understands lighting, he understands composition and everything. exposure. Like he can form a really good shot, and it sounds really like film snobby of me that I enjoy these these things in some aspects. Um, but the thing is, though, throughout Avatar, there are certain still shots that are just really good, and a lot of times they're not even like, and I'm not talking about like the grand scale things. There are just intimate shots that are done really well, and I'm afraid we might not have that from a little bit of the trailers and stuff I'm seeing. We might not have that type of uh, abilities behind the camera. Um, so that's one little thing I might be worried about. But so there might be just a inherent missing of quality in some shots. There are some shots in the trailers that look absolutely beautiful, but most of those are like wide sweeping, like of
Hmm.
Omashu or of um,
The ships,
air
the
temples, the
you know,
ships and stuff. Like those shots are incredible and stuff, and it's really hard
they
work doing it.
they they are borderline. Maybe it's just this TV. I got like a half a year ago. I got a nicer TV. Some of those shots are borderline breathtaking. Like I feel like I'm in
Yeah,
a movie
yeah,
theater watching a AAA movie.
yeah.
Some of the big
I just worry about those. I just worry about those intimate shots.
Chris,
Those are a little. I don't know.
I feel as though my complaint is either it's like adjacent to yours or like it overlaps with yours a good chunk because my
Yeah.
least favorite shots do tend to be close-ups and it tends to be things that like first this is important. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. I know there's going to be things like that I just like I'm like that looks dumb. Aang's air scooter running into the rock. It doesn't look right. That's not the right impact. There's something wrong about it. It just doesn't look
Ah,
good.
okay.
And there's going to be things like that bug me that just work better in animation. You can just make them look better or
Hmm.
right animated. That's fine. I'm going to suspend my disbelief and I'm going to be fine with it. But I agree with you completely that there's going to be some close up type of things, some shooting things, some preferences that don't mesh up with what my brain just knows animation with the literal unlimited creativity of animation can do better. Which is
Yeah.
why I might always prefer the animated series to some degree. I would imagine that's my prediction, but that does not mean that I won't still enjoy this. It's hard to
Yeah.
imagine a world where I'll prefer it to the animated version, but does not mean I won't
Oh yeah.
enjoy it.
And what I do, you know what's interesting is that I recently watched season one or a lot of it, and what I'm
Skipped
afraid
Bato, huh?
is that fans, yeah,
Good
I'm
choice.
afraid is that fans of the show will inherently compare this first season of the live action show to all of Avatar and be like, oh well, this isn't better than that. Like they, in their head, they will try to compare book one to book one, but just instinctively you might compare the whole show because you know the whole entire arc, you know how everything happens. Um, so I am curious, I am interested because I think book one, while great, it is the lesser of all the seasons of
Yeah,
Avatar.
we literally
Um,
said I think season 2 of Korra is my least favorite. I think it's my second least favorite. I think we
yeah,
disagreed on that slightly, but like it's my second least
hmm,
favorite season of all 7.
yeah, and so
Don't
I'm
compare to that
curious
out of the
how it would
gate.
do.
Don't compare 1 to 1 out the gate. That ain't right.
Um, oh, and I hope they keep a lot of different things because there are a lot of. I really hope they keep the ocean spirit, um, wreaking havoc because that's just a beautiful freaking shot.
It's
Like
sick.
it like when that happened, I thought, oh, this show's on another level. This show went up another level. Beautiful. It was dark, but then like you could just see
But the
things sliding
colors
through
were
the
vibrant. Like it was
fire and the
dark, but the
colors.
colors were so
Yeah.
vibrant.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Like
It's an
and
animated series that does not suffer in the transition to HD, right? Like when we were first watching that, we were watching it on CRTs, most likely,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
does not suffer its transition to HD. Great, great color palette. Brilliant in the literal sense of the word brilliant.
Okay.
Chris, it's getting late. I'm gonna pass out
It
sitting here
is. Yeah,
in
this
this
will be a
chair.
short one, Sean.
Yeah,
We
this is
can never do
never works
it.
out. But listen, that's okay. Just means it's good conversation. Hey, thanks for watching or listening. We appreciate you being here. If you can leave any kind of positive interactions with us, comments, thumbs ups, likes, subs, bells, reviews, whatever, all those things are. You got a whole world of options. We appreciate all
Oh,
those
I
very
meant to say
much.
something before. Oh, real quick.
Yeah, fire
I
away.
think it's just a guess. I think after the episode Blue Spirit, Aang and Zuko are gonna go on their own foot. Like there was that scene where it looked like they were both hiding out and like they're whispering to each other. I think they had to like figure out a way to work together to get back. I don't know.
Their
Anyway,
their journey together will not end in the abrupt cartoon fashion. There will be more to
yes,
it. I like
yeah,
that. That'd be a nice change. I'd be down for that change.
yeah. I'm down for changes. It doesn't have to be a one for one. Why would I even want that? I can just watch the show.
I'm down for
But
changes. I reserve the right
I just
to
hope I like the
prefer.
changes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I reserve the right to hate the
but
changes.
never. I don't hate the changes out of the gate. I don't want to compare, movies exclusively to books or whatever. I'm down for the changes. It just, some of them are gonna work better. Some of them are gonna be worse. That's right. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and listening, Chris. Nice to talk to you as always. Next time I talk to you, it'll be at your house, which will be great.
In person,
In person, the real
right
deal.
here.
With
Be sitting on this couch for like 8 hours straight. I'm
iris,
gonna order probably some delivery of something,
I was
so we
thinking
just keep watching
irresponsible
and then
food, like full day.
yeah.
We we got to end the food binging early because I'm old. I get heartburn these days, right? So it's good that we're doing a
Oh,
morning thing, so I can have my heartburn before I go to bed. That's good. Getting old is awesome. All
we're gonna
right,
be here at 7:15, and then we're gonna be
man,
until I have to go to parent teacher conference.
this is the oldest thing we've talked about yet. Hey, looking forward to it though. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time. Be home and bed by 8.